Timotab, and today I'm going to solve Happy Anniversary Timotab by FullDeck and Missing a Few Cards. Tomorrow is the 28th of August, and that is a full year since I started posting sudoku solves on my YouTube channel. So FullDeck and Missing a Few Cards have very kindly created this puzzle to celebrate. Thank you very much to both of those. Yeah, it's hard to believe that it's been a full year. I have thoroughly enjoyed it and plan to continue doing it. I've posted at least every other day. There have been some periods where I've posted on my quote-unquote off days for special occasions. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. And I see from my YouTube activity that lots of other people seem to be enjoying it too. Quite a few people seem to watch without having subscribed, so if you are one of those, it would help me greatly if you could subscribe, and that will help the algorithm. And also please like and comment on the videos. Okay, let us have a look at the rules, but before we do that, yes, the first link will be a link to this puzzle, so you can try it for yourself. And I will also link to FullDeck and Missing a Few Cards website, where they have all kinds of different sudoku puzzles of varying levels for you to try out. All right, let us now have a look at the rules. Normal sudoku rules apply. So we're going to place the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, every column, and every box. Kropki pairs, digits in cells separated by a black dot are in a 2-to-1 ratio. So if this were a 2, this would have to be 1 or 4, so that one digit is double the other. Digits in cells separated by a white dot are consecutive. So if this were a 2, this would have to be a 1 or a 3 to be consecutive. Not all dots are necessarily given. So by the rules, it is perfectly possible for this to be a 2 and this to be a 1, 3, or 4. And whisper 4, which is often called Dutch whispers, adjacent digits along a whisper 4 line must differ by at least 4. So if this is a 3, this must be 7, 8, or 9 to be at least 5 away from it. 4 away from it. There we go. All right, I am going to restart the puzzle to reset the timer, and let's begin. So, dots, black dots in particular. Can't put 5, 7, or 9 on a black dot, because if I try halving them, I get a non-integer. If I try doubling them, I get 10 or more, and those aren't sudoku digits. So I can only put 1 and 2, or 2 and 4, or 4 and 8, or 3 and 6. And only one of those pairs have digits that are at least 4 apart, which is 4 and 8. So I can right away put 4 and 8 into all of those cells. Now, row 1 now looks interesting. I can't put 4 or 8 here, so 4 and 8 must be in one of those, must be in 2 of those 3 cells, but it can't be that one because of the 4, 8 on here. So that's a 4 or 8. Row 4 can't go there for 4 and 8, can't go there for 4 and 8, so that's a 4, 8 pair here. Where else can I put some more 4s and 8s in? I can put them in here by sudoku. And then over here, won't go into any of those. One of 4 and 8 will be here and one down here. They're not going to be in the same row because that would break this or this. Okay. Where else can I look? Okay, so the thing about whisper 4 lines, also known as Dutch whispers, is that if there is no 5 involved, then my digits are going to alternate between above 5 and below 5. And I'll come back to the 5 in a moment. So if this is 1, 2, 3, 4, if I try putting 1, 2, 3, and 4 here, then the maximum difference between those is 3. and the minimum difference required is 4. So I can't put two low digits together. Same if I try putting 6, 7, 8, 9 next to another 6, 7, 8, 9. So that means they're going to alternate unless there is a 5 in the middle, in which case, so normally we would have something like this being high, this being low, this being high, and then this being low. But if I put a 9 here and a 5 here, then I can put a 1 there, and that switches the polarity of the digits the other side of the 5. So I do have to be a little careful of that. But that means that this closed loop with an odd number of digits is very interesting, because if I make that low and that high, then what do I make this digit? Well, I can't make it high because it's next to a high digit, and I can't make it low because it's next to a low digit. So I have to have a 5 in there somewhere. I just don't know where yet. And 5 can only go next to 1 and 9. So that is a 159 triple. Okay. Now, it seems to me that 4s on the Whisper 4 lines are fairly restricted. Yes. So, 4 can only go next to 8 and 9. So if I try to make this cell a 4, what do I make these two? Because this becomes an 8, and now these two both have to be 9 or an 8-9 pair. But they can't be because I've already used an 8 here, and I can't put two 9s. So that cannot be 4, that must be 8. That must be 4, and then this must be a 9. These must be from 1, 2, and 3. And that is either high or it could be 5. So it's going to be 5, 6, or 7. All right, where else are 4s restricted? Okay, nice. If this cell here is a 4, then this has to be a 9, but 9 can't go on a black dot. So that has to be an 8. That has to be a 4. That's going to be from 1, 2, and 3. That's going to be in a 1-2 relationship with that. So if that's a 2, that'll be a 1 because it can't be a 4. If it's a 1, it's a 2. And then if that's a 3, that's a 6. Okay. That 4 is going to make that 8. And that 4, that makes this 1, 2, or 3. Interesting. All right, 4s and 8s. So, if this is 4, this is 8 by Sudoku. So these two are going to be the same. Right. If this is 4, then this has to be a 9. But if this is 4, then this is 4. This has to be an 8 or a 9, but I've already got 8 in the box, so it has to be a 9. But that places two 9s in the box. That is exceedingly nice. So that is not 4, that is 8. That is 4. That is 8. That is 4. This is now 3 or 5. If this is 3, then that has to be 7. I was going to say 7, 8, or 9, but it can't be 8 or 9. If this is 5, this has to be 1 because it can't be a 9. Okay. Where next? All right. I need an even digit to go on this dot. Every white dot has an odd digit and an even digit because that's how consecutive digits work. I can't put 4 and 8 on here. If I try putting 2 on here, then I have those two will be from 1, 2, and 3, and therefore I get 4 cells requiring the digits 1, 2, and 3 in them, which is not going to work. That's going to cause a definite repeat within the column. So that can't be a 2 in there. Therefore, there is a 6 in there, and that goes with either 5 or 7. That, I think, makes this interesting. Because right. I've got 8 allocated here. I've got 6 allocated here, looking at high digits. I've got either 7 or 5 here. But if I do not have a 5 on here, I need 2 high digits and 2 low digits. So I definitely have to have 9 on here. And then, right. So if this is 9, I could have a low digit here, and 7 here, and a low digit here, and then this would be 5, 6. So that would be a 9, 7 pair. If this is 6, 7, 9, 5, 1, that needs to be a high digit. That's not going to work. 9, 5 there, low digit, that would have to be a high digit. That's not going to work. 9, 5, 1, and a low digit. That could work. So that is 7 or 9. That is 5, 7 or 9. And this is 1, 2, or 3. That's where the remaining low digit has to go. If this is, yes, those both have to be low digits. Because if that's a 5, it can't be a 9. That would have to be a 1. And if that's 7 or 9, then that's going to be low. So those two are from 1, 2, and 3, and that seems to fit. And then one of those two is going to be low, because it's either 3, 7 or 5, 1. That's the third low digit, that's the fourth low digit, and that 4 is actually looking up there. So this must be a high digit or a 5. So it's going to be 5, 6, or 7. Okay, if that is 7, that has to be 8 or 6, neither of which it can be. So that's not a 7. If that's a 5, that's going to be a 4 or a 6, neither of which it can be. So that's not a 5. So that's a 6. And that is a 5 or 7, which makes my 5, 6, 7 triple in this column. But that's now not 6. Okay. All right, those two are both from 1, 2, and 3. And I've just realized I've got another 4 here or potential 4 here that would be restricted. If that's 4, that has to be an 8, 9 pair, which it can't be. So that's an 8. That's a 4. Now these are both from 1, 2, and 3. Which doesn't make sense. Because now I've got 4 digits from 1, 2, and 3. That's why. That's not a 1, 2, and 3. That's the 1, 2, 3. That was close. Missed pencil marked. All right. Yes, that's the one that's adjacent on the line to the 8. Okay, now I have a 1, 2, 3 triple in the row, which looks interesting because now that can't be a 3. That's a 5. That makes that a 1. That's a 2-3 pair. That 5 looks down to make that a 7. That 5 makes this 7, which makes this a 5-6 pair. That's no longer 5. So we get a 7-9 pair there. I have a 1-2-3 triple in this row. So those aren't 1s, and that makes this a high digit or a 5. So let's look at this first. That's a 5-9 pair. That makes that 7 and that 6. That's 5 and that's 9. And now this is an actual high digit. But before I do that, I've just noticed that that wipes out 1 and 2 from there. So this is 3 and 6. And now that has to be a 7. This is 2 or 3 and is the same as that digit. Okay. On this white dot, I need an even digit, which is either 2 or 6. But if I put a 2 on here, just like over here, that's going to give me 4 digits from 1, 2, and 3 in this box, which I can't do. So this must be a 6. It can't go with a 7, so it must go with a 5. That's 5, 6. That's 9. That's 5. This is now from 1, 2, and 3. This 3 is looking across. That's a 2. That's a 3. That's a 1. That's a 2. And we get a 3 here. That 1 means that that is not, and the 2 means that that's a 3. This has to be 7 or 9. This is not a 3. That's not a 3. Try again. Or a 1. That's a 2. So this is 6, 7, or 9. That is a 1, 2 pair. And in fact, this one here tells me which way round. That's 2. That's 1. In this row, I need 6, 7, and 9, and this must be where the 9 is because of the 6 and 7 in the column. So that's a 9. That is a 2, 3 pair. This digit is 1. Okay. That is no longer 9. This is 6 or 7, and then the column tells us that it's a 7. That makes that a 6, which resolves the 5 and the 6 here. Okay. Let's see, where's the best place to look next? All right, this is 1, 5, 7, 9. That 7 tells me that that's not 7 in there, so that's a 7. This is now 1, 5, 9. That's not 5, that's not 9, that is not 1. But that means that this digit is 2 or 3, and that 2 tells me which one it is. That's a 3. That's a 2. That's a 3. That's now 1, 2 pair. This is 3, 5, 6. This is a 5 or a 9. Okay. If this is 9, then this is from 1, 2, 3, 4, but it can't be 2 or 4. So if that's 9, that is 1 or 3. If that's 5, that's 1 or 9. In fact, in this column, well, where does 7 go in this box? 7 does not go there. In this column, it must go here. So now we have a 139 triple here. One of those must be a 3 because of the column, and that means that the other one has to be a 9 because I can't put 1 and 3 next to each other. So that means that 1 is not there, 1 is there, and that finishes up here. And then this 9 means that that must be a 5, and then that in turn goes back and makes that 9 that a 3. That was very nice. That's not 3. Okay, these 3 digits are 1, 2, and 6. These 3 digits are 5, 6, 9. That one's not a 6. 2 can't go next to 5, but the 1 can go next to any of those. These 3 digits are 2, 7, 9. That one's not a 2, that one's not a 7. Okay. So 7 in this box goes into one of those 2 places. 8 goes here or here. 9 must go into one of those 2. If it went here, then that would be an 8, which it can't be. And these are all high digits, so that feels interesting. Okay, if this is 7 here, this must be 6 or 8. If that's 8, this has to be 7. So if this is 7, then this is a high digit. Well, I'll note that from this 5, this can't be a 5. That's important. So if this is 7, this is a high digit, which is either 6 or 8. But if that's not 7, then this is 7, and because that can't be a 5, this is a high digit. So either way, this is a high digit, and the only high digits available are 6 and 8. 6 cannot go next to 5 on this dot because of that 5, and 8 cannot go next to 9. So that must be a 7. This is now a high digit and must be 6 or 8 because it can't be 7 or 9. But that 8 is looking down. That is a 6. That means that this is a 1-2 pair, and in fact this one tells me that that's a 2, that's a 1. That must be where the 9 goes. This must be an 8 because of the 6 in the box. And that was another really nice step. This 7 makes that 9, which makes that a 6. This 9 makes that a 2. And that a 5. That's 9. That must be 7. That 1 and 6 makes that 2. That's 3. That 8 resolves this 4 and 8 here. That 2 makes this 1 and this 2. This 1 and 2 in the row make that 6. So that's 5. That's 6. That's 1. And I need 3 more digits, which are 3, 4, and 5. That's the 5. That's the 4. And that's the 3. And that was a lovely puzzle. Thank you ever so much, FullDeck and Missing a Few Cards, for creating that specifically for my anniversary. If you liked this solve, then please hit the like button. You can subscribe to see some more, and I would love to hear your comments. I'm looking forward to next time. Be seeing you.